Welcome back. Here with us on Mirror Now. This is Urban Debate and I'm Heena Gambhir. In 1978, India changed its legal age of marriage for a girl to 18 from 15 years and for a boy to 21 years from 18 years. So a law has been in place for the last 43 years outlawing child marriages. But India is home to every third child bride in the entire world. There is Prohibition of Child Marriage Act 2006, which prohibits marriage below 18 years of age for women and 21 years for men. But it's estimated that 100 million get married every year before they turn 15. In 43 years, viewers, we have not been able to eliminate child marriages. As per the National Family Health Survey number 5, child marriages have just declined to 23% in 2019-20 from 27% in 2015 and 16. Now, with an aim to lower maternal mortality rates, to improve nutrition levels and to ensure opportunities for women to pursue higher education and career, the NDA government introduced the Prohibition of Child Marriage Amendment Bill. The legislation raises the age for marriage for women from 18 to 21 years, making it same as men. Now, this was sent to the Standing Committee today after it was introduced by Women and Child Development Minister Smriti Irani in Lok Sabha. The centre has called it women empowerment. The opposition calls it women infantilization. Over the last few days, there have been mixed sort of reactions on this proposal. Those opposing it say that if at 18 a woman is considered an adult, gets the right to vote, then why can't she get married at 18? UNICEF, meanwhile, says that child marriage increases the risk of early and unplanned pregnancy, in turn increasing the risk of maternal complications and mortality. The practice can also isolate girls from family and friends and exclude them from participating in their communities, taking a heavy toll on their mental health and well-being. A report by State Bank of India last year suggested that raising the legal age would bring in enormous social and economic gains. The objective of the legislation looks good, but will merely raising the age bar remove the malady? So on Urban Debate this evening, we will try to understand if raising the marriage age for women is empowering or shackling. Should raising the legal age for marriage be the lone prescription against illegal acts of child marriage? That's our big debate, and joining us on the broadcast is Poonam Mutreja, who is Executive Director, Population Foundation of India. We have Anurag Naidu, who is a social activist. Trisha Shetty, advocate and founder, SheSays NGO. We also have with us Shaina NC, spokesperson of the BJP. Good evening to all of you. Let me begin this discussion with you, Poonam Mutreja. In your opinion, what is it that the government is doing? Is it empowering for women or shackling?
So, increasing age at marriage is a goal that is an important one, and it does empower women. An increase in age, it does all the things you mentioned earlier. It reduces maternal mortality, it reduces child mortality, and but the point is that you have to keep girls in school for them not to get married. We have had legislation. Legislation is not a sufficient condition. We've had legislation for so many decades, but age at marriage continues. 1/4 of the girls get married in India below the age 18. And there are states where, like Bengal, where there are Bihar and Meghalaya, where 40% of the girls marry below the age 18. So what we see as a problem is seen as a solution by the community. And for the government to say that by increasing age at marriage only, they will be able to achieve, legalizing and increasing it to age 21 will bring equality with men. It's a bit misguided. I have no problems with 18, but 21, are we ready for young girls, parents to keep girls at home when they see as a problem, even till 18, keeping them at home? They find it unsafe. It is true that it is sexual abuse is something that is rampant in our society. There are so many issues, and for the government to pick up just legal, where in India, how many times have you seen people getting penalized for getting their daughters married at an early age, that neither the priest nor the parents nor those who are participating get penalized with impunity? You see government officials, politicians attending child marriages. There's another point that I'd really like to make is that 70% of the cases that we have seen where child marriage is reported is parents who oppose the elopement or the religion or caste, mainly the caste of the person their daughter has married. So they oppose it, or the son, if the son is of a different caste. So we have to deal with all these issues, and just saying that, we are bringing equality by bringing in a law is quite inadequate. And now doing politics on this, everybody's trying to make it into a religious issue, political issue. All that is disgusting. Don't even bother about making laws for our girls if you're going to use it for political purposes.
Okay, Shaina NC, your quick response on the points that Ms. Poonam has raised. Of course, the idea is that you want to empower women, but is that the only way?
So I have a couple of points to make. Number one, we have to move with the times. There has to be gender equality, gender justice, and that happens when you have the same set of laws for men and women alike. Now, 21 as an age is clearly for women's empowerment. The Niti Aayog has given a lot of suggestions based on the fundamental points that a girl in aspirational India needs to have the right to educate herself to the best of her ability so that she is secure in the days to come and financially empowered. Our Prime Minister has always talked about Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, not just as a tagline, but as a movement for empowerment of women. And in the current scenario, if you look at the observations by the Niti Aayog, leave alone political parties and certain parties that have had such regressive comments to say, oh, we will have to look after women for 3 more years. Oh, this is going to be bad for her character. Oh, this is about her fertility. Oh, this is about some scientific genius who believes that only women are fertile at 18 plus and not 21 plus. So all these stupid arguments that one has been hearing and the kind of vote bank politics that one has been seeing, pandering to certain communities. I think the beauty of our democracy is that the Prime Minister hears what the public of this country want, and the public, especially the women, the aspirational women who are aspiring to study more, to be financially empowered. Marriage is not the be-all and end-all of their existence. It is not as if it was in the past कि बेटी यानी कि शादी और फिर जल्द से जल्द ये responsibility को छोड़ना. These are all archaic thought processes, and he is giving us the opportunity to shine, to blossom, to be in the current public space where we can have a profession, have a family, have aspirations, and coexist with all of them in not necessarily a time-bound fashion, but as per the desire of the girl or the boy. So that equality is something I think we need to applaud, and these suggestions from the Niti Aayog are based on fundamental rights which give the girl child better education, better healthcare, better security, and obviously the opportunity to grow as an independent individual rather than just being married off at 18 and sometimes even earlier because she is some kind of a liability.
Okay, interesting point there, and we'll talk about the issue of girls going to school as well in just a bit. But before that, let me take the opening comments from my other guests as well. Trisha Shetty, now, while many in the country have this mindset that the girl is like Paraya Dhan. The moment a girl is born, the focus is that, how to get her married when she turns 18. And when we have legal age, for women, when the legal age for marriage for women is already there in the country, 18, yet we have numerous examples wherein the girls are married before even they turn 18. So do you think this new bill can change that mindset, or something should be done to first change that mindset and then come out with these kind of bills?
Thank you, firstly, for having this conversation during prime time. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Honestly, Shaina and I are in agreement with a lot of points when it comes to equality, right? But let's just look at the facts. The fact is that if you are above the age of 18, you can legally vote. You are deemed as an adult who is of sound mind, who can make a decision regarding who should be governing them. So you are allowed to vote. The second fact also is that you can drive if you are above the age of 18. You are literally giving car keys to an individual and trusting them with the responsibility of not just their life, but every life of a person on the street. When you tell them you are above the age of 18, we trust you to be able to drive. The fact also is that if you are a woman above the age of 18 and you commit a crime, you are treated as an adult under the IPC and tried as an adult, not as a juvenile. So what we're essentially saying is if you are a woman above the age of 18, you can vote, you can drive, you will be treated as an adult under the eyes of the court, but you cannot make the decision to marry unless you turn to 21. Now, I do agree with Shaina on the aspect of equality, which is why I think the government should have listened to the Law Commission report in 2008, which called for the age of both men and women to be 18 when it comes to marriage, and not increase it to 21. Because I think it's not fair that men are told that they get to marry when they're 21 and women at 18. There should be equality in that we treat both of them as adults of sound mind and age when we trust them with critical responsibilities like voting, but then infantilize them by saying, no, you must wait till you are 21. Look, if this is about autonomy of a woman's body, the government has said this is to protect the health status of a woman. How can you assure that you do that? One, by investing in public healthcare, by not privatizing healthcare, by investing in public healthcare. Go to government hospitals. Part of my work, I routinely visit government hospitals, and I can tell you the kind of healthcare provided to survivors of rape, to sexual assault, to young children who've been raped is abysmal. It is abhorrent, it is disgusting, and not enough is done to strengthen public healthcare systems. Also, just like the previous panelist mentioned, Poonam ji, if you want to talk about ensuring women have autonomy over their body, then give them access to quality education, which includes sex education, not just to girls, but to all genders in schools. The surest way to ensure women have guaranteed autonomy over their bodies, which means that they will marry at a later age, which also means that they will choose when they want to, choose their childbirth plan, choose when they want to have a child, ensure that they have the amount of children that they feel comfortable with raising, is by educating them, is by economically empowering them, is by strengthening the healthcare system. And all of these things the government is lacking on. I am glad that Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao has been brought up. It's the same subject I brought up the last time. Why is 80% of the funds invested of the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao fund on advertisements? That is an injustice to women and children at large. So if you want to talk about ensuring women are given access to, and I'm in agreement in all the points that Shaina raised, just not the way it's being done. I think make sure that there is transparency in how you are investing funds in our system.
Okay, so the intention, might be good, but Anurag, I want to ask you the point that Trisha was also making just now. Post 18, the women in this country can vote, they can drive, they get the driving license, they're treated as an adult in case of a crime. So why take away this right to marry, this freedom?
I think I will, by and large, absolutely agree with most of the points Trisha has made. And it's a very valid argument, essentially by kind of deciding on the age at which a woman or a girl can get married, we are essentially deciding upon the autonomy that the girl has. And when we say that we are truly moving towards liberalization, we have no right to clip, the wings of a woman that is aspiring to do many things in life. It cannot be, it can be driving, working. When you have 18 valid, 8 years as a valid age to work, get a job, vote, do many other things. So are we really, and also Shaina made a point about, equality. If it is really about equality, then you might also bring down the age of men getting married at 18. That's also another way of looking at things. But essentially, what I also want the government to do is, and I'm glad at least the BJP is not bulldozing this bill, tooth and nail. Mr. Sidani has made a point on behalf of the government on the floor of the House today that it has to be referred to the parliamentary committee. And I would really expect the committee to do empirical study on the scientific evidences on, the biological evolution in terms of, growth, in terms of maturity, the mental strength and everything, far more, or a lot of other points as well. Before even today's age is 18, somebody told so beautifully, in many states in India, we're still having cases when girls are getting married far less than 18 years, is getting married at 13, 14, 15. Where are we really stopping them? Do we have balls to go against the panchayats and, raise a voice in Haryana and ask them not to get the girls married, or Bal Vivah in Rajasthan? Are we able to stop that? No. If we are not able to stop it today, what makes us, believe that we're going to stop it tomorrow? So essentially, we have to invest on lucrative education opportunities, lucrative growth opportunities. We have to make the entire ecosystem for both men and women, both girls and boys, look so beautiful as a holistic growth of the society, and invest on things that will create organic development rather than putting, rules which will clip the autonomy of girl. That is not what we want to, aim.
Okay. Poonam and Shaina, to you first. Now, I say, I'll still reiterate what I mentioned earlier, and I want you to respond to it. Post 18, you can vote, you can drive, you're treated as an adult in case of a crime. But if you're married, such is our social framework that, you may have to step out of school. You can't be a doctor or an engineer. Why is that a deterrent?
Are you asking me? Are you asking me?
Shaina first, and then
two things. I couldn't listen to the audio prior to this. The government's intention is clearly women's empowerment. If you heard Smriti Irani ji speak in Parliament, this is not about a skill set. Driving is a skill that you can develop at 18, you can develop at 16 or even 20. But the point is the legal age is 18. So there is a benchmark. That is a skill. Now, as far as marriage is concerned, one wants to have the girl child given the opportunity to explore the profession of her choice, the education of her choice, and then make the decision of her choice. Now, in a lot of archaic rural areas, we know that still people don't even adhere to the 18-year guideline. This bill that has been actually, after a lot of thought, this existing law comes into being only with the factual reports on ground which have been provided by the Niti Aayog, and obviously if it is empowering the lives of women with a sense of equality, I don't see why anyone should have a problem with it. People who are using these kind of excuses to say, oh, हमें लड़की को संभालना पड़ेगा, 3 और साल कैसे करेंगे? This is exactly the same mindset that the Honorable Prime Minister has been fighting when he says, बेटी बचाओ, बेटी पढ़ाओ, when he says, बेटे को समझाओ, बेटे को सिखाओ, when he speaks from Lal Killa and talks about the aspirations of the women of this country. I think it is a step that actually walks the talk without playing any appeasement politics or any vote bank politics. And we have seen this, whether it is the decisions taken by this government on triple talaq, whether it is in the days to come a uniform civil code, or whether it is even raising the marriageable age to 21, which I think is very apt for a girl or a boy to be thinking and making a decision.
Shaina, nobody is doubting the intention here. Nobody is really doubting the intention here. But I want to go across to Poonam. I want to go across to Poonam now. If the state governments, in the past couldn't really ensure that parents do not marry their daughters till 18, I mean, how will they be protected till 21, even after this bill comes?
So Shaina saying this is a very well thought through bill. I'm afraid it's not thought through because they should have looked at the fact, which is what you just asked me, when parents are not able to, parents or families or whoever society is not willing to get their daughters married below, get their daughters married below 18 when there has been a law for so long. Law hasn't been implemented properly. Most laws, it's difficult in India. In India, we break, the public breaks laws with impunity. Does those who are making this law not know that? Secondly, you say you're empowering the girl, you're strengthening the girl, empower her with better nutrition, empower her with education, make education compulsory till class 12. That will be easier to deal with. Create the environment where women will be empowered to make a decision to marry whenever they want, whether it's at 18 or 21 or 32. Change social norms, influence society by just mere slogans and laws. You cannot change a society which, rightly Shaina said, there is a regressive thought processes, thinking, social norms. We need to, my problem is that they are projecting, the government is projecting as though by making this law, they have empowered women. This is misleading all of us. And those of us who have given arguments on what needs to be done and that changing the law is not giving women power. If a woman wants to marry at age 20, who is the government to stop her from marrying below the age 21? If a girl herself wants, yes, where parents are forcing, you can have you can have better protection at this point of time, whether it's the police or who is this empowering? It's not empowering the girls. It's going to empower the parents, the panchayats, the rigorous society which has regressive norms and social behavior. To make these big lofty statements after consulting 15 NGOs, and most of those NGOs don't work on issues of age at marriage. I know large number of NGOs in the country who work on age at marriage. None of them had any say. They had given other suggestions. There are 15 NGOs that were called, and they're saying we thought through. There should have been some consultation, This is the life of people. You cannot control, and young girls today do not like it, let me tell you. They do not like, they are fed up with being told what to wear, what to eat, what to do. And this is one more thing. And you empower the girls to make the right decision, to negotiate with their family and so on. There are behavior change communications that have led to increasing age at marriage. And you work with the teachers, you try and change. The Prime Minister today, which they keep quoting, has huge convening role. People do listen to him. So how about saying, give better nutrition to your child, keep her in school, keep her in college? Where are the jobs? The girls are moving out. Women are moving out. There's a job crisis in India, and girls are the ones and women are the ones who are moving out of the job market. Instead of entering the job market, will parents keep their daughters at home without education opportunities? It's unsafe for girls to go to a high school, which is really far from their villages. Create colleges, schools where it is safe for them, hostels, whatever needs to be done. Just one thing, and it breaks my heart to think that we have policymakers who think by only increasing age at marriage, we are empowering girls, and then we are told that on television everywhere. Who is going to believe it? And as far as politics are concerned, I don't care what the opposition is saying or what the BJP is saying. There isn't sincerity about really girls. If there was, we would be doing a lot more for girls. And there are hardly any, there are hardly any new employment opportunities or trainings for women, for girls, so that parents are have the faith that their girls.
Do you think? Got your point, Ms. Poonam. Right, got your point, Ms. Poonam. But Trisha, do you think, we need to give the credit where it is due? And in this case, the government has now agreed to send it to the standing committee as well, unlike the other bills, of course, which were passed amid din as well. So at least, the government wants a rethink on this particular issue.
I think if that is the benchmark of basically saying at least they didn't shove this down the throat, then, we're basically raising our hands and saying this is majoritarianism and not espousing the values of democracy. Look, I think it's funny that when we talk about the need for a law to criminalize marital rape, the government response usually is no, that it needs a mindset reset, right? This is a cultural issue. It cannot be reformed through law enforcement. We need a mindset reset. But that same logic is not used when it comes to this issue. Suddenly here, it's okay to have a bill that says, no, the age of marriage should be increased to 21. So there has to be some sort of, consistency. If you want to ensure women have access to quality education, to dignity of their lives, then ensure that you criminalize marital rape in this country, which is a problem. It is not an anomaly. It is a lived reality for so many of us. Another thing, right? It is a fact that, which Shaina very eloquently raised, that the issue of child marriage is a graver issue when it comes to rural places and not as much as in urban places, right? Now, why is that? We can attribute it down to a really crude simplification, maybe two reasons. One, economic distress, as well as concerns of parents about, concerns that the children will be sexually abused and, this concept of pariah dhan that was also raised. So you do not address issues of economic empowerment as well as safety of women by introducing this bill. You are basically putting a band-aid on a really septic issue that needs resources. I come back to this. Why is the government representative here? And this has nothing to do with Shaina personally. I am completely in agreement with everything that she's raising. But as a government representative, where are the answers for what is happening with resource management and allocation? Why is the resource for Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao not being spent to ensure women have guaranteed access to education? And why is it spent on advertisements? That's it. I keep asking this question and I get no response.
Well, no. That's an important point that you're raising, but I slightly disagree with you and your initial comment that you made, Trisha. Majority in Parliament, I don't think is majoritarianism. It has members of Parliament who were elected by the people of this country who come from different states. But meanwhile, I want Shaina to respond to the concerns that were raised by Poonam as well as Trisha.
You'll have to repeat the question, Heena, because my audio had gone off in between.
The sense that we've got from our guests so far is that, Shaina, that instead of attacking the root cause here, the real problem that you have in hand, which is leading to child marriages, you're bringing another bill which might not really solve anything for you. Because if you see in the rural parts of the country where we see maximum child marriages taking place, where the girls are actually considered as pariah dhan, that's the scenario in most parts of the country. How will this bill really change the mindset? Don't you think you should probably look at providing economic opportunities for girls? You mentioned about, children being sent to schools. I have some data with me.
Absolutely.
India's dropout rate for girls is as high as 57% by high school. So instead of looking at these issues, instead of giving them better environment, why are you considering a bill of this sort? How will this solve the purpose? That's what they wanted to know.
So I think two things. Let's segregate both. One is this whole concept of paraya dhan और ये बेटी की शादी करनी है और घर के ऊपर बोझा होगा और ज़्यादा पढ़ाएंगे तो फिर शादी नहीं होती है. This is mindset. This is a debate that we have to fight collectively, and this is society at large. Government really cannot do as much as it should. However, the Prime Minister, by saying Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, has also at the same time said, Bete ko samjhao, Bete ko sikhao, Bete ko suljhao. All these campaigns are also running parallelly. But this stems from the family, and the family, obviously, the better educated they are, the mindset also changes. Now coming to the age of 18 to 21. Now what are the advantages? The advantages are that that same girl who was married off at 18 has 3 more years to educate, to empower, and to be Atmanirbhar. This is about not just the girl feeling that she is some kind of a commodity where she has to be married off at 18, having the opportunity at 21, she may even want to marry at 24, but she is given that much more time to have her aspirations realized into dreams, and dreams which are translated into reality. I think we need to really understand two things. We are yet a very patriarchal society, very male chauvinistic in nature. It needs to change. It changes when there is equality. Equality means that same girl who is at 21 is at par with a boy who's 21, the same girl who is given inheritance rights, the same girl who's given educational opportunities, the same girl who stands on her own 2 feet and earns as much as the male counterpart or the beta in the family and does better. So it can all change through this consciousness of thought process, and of course with changing times one needs to evolve. We may not have thought that 21 is the appropriate age when it was 18, and when it was 18 we may feel that there should be left that opportunity. But as I said, we need to distinguish as to what is a skill set. A skill of learning to drive and an opportunity to get married at a particular age, which is your whole life at stake. And when I say whole life at stake, this is not just the girl child that we're talking about future generations too, because it is the woman of the house who actually decides how the next generation is also going to shape. So when it's education and healthcare, then one knows that being financially empowered is a byproduct of this basic fundamental right which the Honorable Prime Minister is setting out to give us. And whether it was even triple talaq, it was about gender equality. It was not vote bank politics. Whether it's raising the age from 18 to 21, it is about empowerment. It is not about appeasement politics.
Okay, Poonam wants to respond, and then I'll go across to Anurag as well.
Yeah,
why not bring the legal age for marriage for men to 18 from 21? Why not bring that down to 18?
Absolutely, we suggested it long ago, and there was as Trisha explained, 2008, there were recommendations to do that. I mean, Shaina just keeps repeating about regressive social norms. Those are the causes. Why are you not treating the causes? You are looking at is like treating symptoms instead of the cause. The cause is, you're right, China, regressive social norms, poor quality education, lack of opportunities for women, lack of jobs. Treat those, deal with those. You keep, please, you just keep repeating and telling us that age at marriage, if you increase it, it'll solve all these problems. It will not. It is just a symptom. I cannot understand why deeper thinking has not gone into making such an important and key decision on increasing age at marriage. I welcome the Prime Minister, the party, whoever wants to work on that is a very welcome thought, very welcome debate also. But going and pushing through a bill on the basis of no understanding of what the society is and what we need to do will solve all the problems is very frustrating for me to hear. And 18, why not 18? If you want equality for both girls and boys, yes, make it 18 for both of them. And then in the meantime, try and look at how
Anurag, do you agree?
Yes. I think I would largely, by and large, agree. And just two quick points that I would like to make here at the outset is, see, there are two things. One is the professional readiness while facing the world, and second is the biological readiness. So we have to give emphasis on both the points. We've been speaking a lot on the professional readiness and the regressive development of the society and all that. But I would also like to say, the bill of women reservation bill has been long pending in the parliament. We've already discussed about it. Why don't we set the first step? Why don't our so-called great parliamentarians, they take the first step, open the doors for the women, be audacious enough to say, we have set ourselves open. Now, this is your opportunity. Second step can be reservation in the government jobs. Give a red carpet to the women to study more, get good government jobs. I see women drivers driving Ola and Uber, challenging their financial situations with that kind of amazing grit and determination. That is the spirit that we see. And if you want to really, kind of capitalize on that spirit, you have to create larger opportunities. We only talk about it, but on paper, we never create opportunities. So that's number one. Number two, the government stand here. I've always been in support of the government by and large for over the last 8-9 years. And me and Shaina has always been on the same page. But this time, the government is lacking a qualitative argument. Let us also conduct, when we're talking about deciding a biological age of getting married, when we are putting things like, reproductive abilities and also the quality of children and nutrition and all that, why don't we form a committee led by the senior most gynecologists of this country and also form a good scientific forum, discuss on empirical scientific evidences, and then come to a conclusion. Because what I have got to, my own sister is a very leading gynec in Bangalore, and what I get to hear from them, the more they get delayed, in terms of, when you talk about the liberalization, when you talk about women empowerment, the reproductive age is getting pushed, and that is creating a lot of problems. Every other woman, at least in my family, I can vouch for, is dealing with problems.
So you mean to say that the age of marriage should not really be raised till, education and health have reached a level of perfection?
Sorry, come again?
I'm saying, so are you trying to say that the age of marriage shouldn't be raised till the education and health have reached a level of perfection?
I'm not saying it should not be raised. I'm saying we should have a qualitative argument when we are bringing about a bill that is going to radically change the whole system. We have not done our homework. We have not been successful enough in kind of, fighting against the Bal Vivah. We are still not successful enough in creating opportunities. Let's do that first. Let us put this debate aside. Let us talk about it tomorrow or day after tomorrow. But what we have to do today, we have unfortunately failed in our, efforts.
Okay, Trisha?
Just one thing, this whole question about the more women get empowered, they delay pregnancy, and then there are issues with pregnancy. Women are not baby making machines. And also there is equal studies to show about how older men, their sperm is not as healthy and fertile as they are when it is younger. So, right, the same argument about the older a man gets.
So you believe that, the legal age for men. So you believe that for men as well, the legal age should be reduced from 21 to 18 instead of raising it for women from 18 to 21?
No, my point is talking about how women should get, should account for their biology and that they are baby making machines and can have babies between a certain age group, and the more empowered they get, they may delay this process, is problematic. That's the only point I disagree with you. And I just think if we're talking about that, let's also talk about the sperm count of men and how it decreases with age.
One quick point.
Anurag wants to respond.
Yeah, neither me.
Yes.
All I'm saying is you have to be very, you have to understand carefully. Neither me or nor Trisha, I suppose, are gynecologists or doctors. All I'm saying is form a scientific committee, do a nice research and study. I am all for, reducing the age for men to get married at 18. I am saying India as a society, we've always had healthy babies. We've always had a healthy, nutritious society. let us also analyze the reasons why we were so healthy for now, and let us also see how the trend, kind of the habits and the kind of food that we are eating, how the trend is changing. Let us all analyze, and I think we are not a committee to decide on that. I'm saying let us have qualified people on board. Let us put this kind of a culture in our country to give people who are really qualified to make an argument, make the laws or influence the bills, rather than just pushing for political gains.
The idea behind having this debate today on Urban Debate on Mirror Now was to understand what people are thinking about this new bill. Of course, it has been sent to a standing committee, so we'll see what eventually comes out. But we wanted to understand where people are, what is their point of view, and that's why it wasn't really a political debate. We had Shaina NC from the BJP on the show because we wanted to understand government's perspective as well. So I want to give 10 seconds each for their closing comments on what should be the right thing to do now that this bill has been referred to a standing committee. Let's begin with Ms. Poonam. 10 seconds, closing comments.
So we need a holistic approach to ending child marriage, which would entail several measures, investing in girls' education, in essential, and given the evidence from across the world suggests that allowing girls to complete their education, creating an enabling environment for girls to complete their education, do social norm changing through behavior change, communication. And finally, the government has to prioritize access to information and services on sexual reproductive health, mental health, nutrition for women and girls. This is what is going to empower them. And let's look at the most marginalized communities, which is where child marriage is more rampant, which is where all these problems, which are the real causes and not the symptoms we should deal with. We should take this more seriously. We should have greater respect
last 10 seconds.
for women and girls.
I think if the government worried less about cosmetic...
closing comments, 10 seconds.
I would implore the government to worry less about cosmetic causes and ensure that Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao fund is used appropriately. And just echo everything that Poonam ji said, as well as just say that we really need to introduce comprehensive sex education within our schooling structures.
Okay, Anurag, closing comments on this bill.
Just 4 points. First, absolutely, undoubtedly fight against child marriage like tooth and nail.
You have only 10 seconds, Anurag. No time for 4 points.
Make education compulsory, increase vocational education, skill-based education, and last, most important point, create more opportunities which are backed by the government.
Shaina, closing comments from your side.
Marriage is not the be-all and end-all of a woman's existence. Women of today aspire, dream, and have every right to do so. Once they are educated and they have chosen their path, whether it's to be married at 21 or at 24 or at 30 or at 40, it is absolutely their own choice. And the days are gone where we have to just view women as a commodity. We are aspirational and we are at par with our male counterpart. So dream big, and believe that there is a government that believes in equality and believes that the girl child must be given every opportunity of education, healthcare, and empowerment.
Well, we take your words and the intention that you're telling us with which this bill was brought, and we really now look forward to the outcome, because now this has been sent to the standing committee. We'll see what happens in the parliament. I appreciate all of you for joining us here this evening on Urban Debate. Heading into a short break now.